talk me through the complexity of the recording process when you guys do what you do at the scale that you do, because I think people don't necessarily realize just how different it is, or how different the approach has to be to pull it off the way that you guys do.
No, well, obviously there's the writing process, and then there's also finalizing the demo for each song. We try and do it as close to the actual studio recording as we can in our own home studios, you know, and that means drums, bass, pretty much 4 rhythm guitars, then lead guitars, fill guitars, so many layers of keyboards, depending on what type of song it is, obviously, and vocals, and then solos on top. So we try and finalize the song as a demo before we go into the studio, and then we recreate the whole song, starting with drums and guitars and bass and all that thing one more time, but then with obviously a professional engineer and producer at the helm helping us out to achieve that sound picture that we want. And what we have in mind from the beginning is basically to have try and get as a huge and punchy and great sound as possible. There's no final answer for that, because even if you recreate the song in the studio, re-record it from how it was at the demo stage, it changes a bit, and it's never done fully until it's mastered in the studio, basically. So that there's always time for some changes here and there, but basically the structure of the song stays the same, you know, and we like to be really well prepared that way, because it's easier to just, if you're a bit unsure of certain things, you can go back to the demo version and you can get a feel of where you want to go, basically. And I remember when we were recording the previous album with Jens Bogren, he said it himself, he was really impressed that we were so well prepared with the way we had done the demos and stuff, and we knew what we wanted, you know. We always know what we want, especially what we don't want. So taking that out of the equation, then that helps a lot. So, but there's a lot of work, and I think obviously the fans in particular, they why does it take you so long between each albums? And it's like, well, obviously we would be the first one to say that we would like to have an album out sooner than later, but we cannot compromise on any level anywhere. And if that means it takes us some extra time to finish it, then so be it. I think it's always going to be worth it in the end. And it's not like the 70s anymore, where bands were recording 2 albums a year, you know. Yeah. We have never been that anyway, but yeah, we take good time to finish a song, and it's also good part of the songwriting. It's something that, another thing people forget, is that it's also to be away from your music, to be away from your art, to then delve back into it and see it with fresh ears and eyes, and come up with changes that way, you know. That's just as important, to leave it be for maybe weeks or even months, for that matter. Certain songs or certain parts of songs, just leave it and then take it back in, and then like totally listen to it with fresh ears and eyes.
Yeah, good art, good music is like good barbecue. It's ready when it's ready. Yeah. So with everything that you've done in your career, that you've achieved over the last 31 years, what do you feel is kind of the next step, the next stone to turn over? Like, you know, what gets you out of bed at, you know, after 31 years? Because, I mean, you know, again, you guys have done more than 99.9% of every single band in the scene right now ever will. I mean, that's you are in the upper 0.1% in terms of success. So, you know, and actually, I mean, I would imagine in terms of almost the audaciousness of what you guys have done as well with the orchestra, with you know, the stage production, all of that sort of thing. What did you feel is still there for you to achieve?
I still think the hunger is the most important thing to achieve something that you're proud of and you feel accomplished. And that's every time we make a new song that goes into a new album. That's an accomplishment. That feeling of completing something, completing a circle. But we're already thinking about the next thing. That's how I think a lot of artists are, because at the end you never finish with things. You finish one part, or you finish a painting or a song and an album, but you still feel like, oh, let's start on scratch. Let's start fresh with something new again. So in that sense, you never really finish. So and as you said, we don't have to do this. We do it because we still want to. And going back to, if we could release an album every year, every second year, that would definitely be better for the bank account. But that's not something that you can stand behind 100% then, because it's something you do just out of other needs. The artistic need has to be coming first.
I'm about to say you could definitely beef up the pension account or pension part with by putting out more records. But I mean, you've got other things that you do outside of DIMMU BORGIR as well. I mean, obviously, I know there's Insidious Disease. Have you got anything? Are there any plans afoot with Insidious Disease or with any other of your projects?
Yeah, actually, the new Insidious Disease album has been demoed, pretty much finished, demoed for a year already. But I don't know, but if you know already, but Russ Russell, our producer, he had some really serious health problems.
I was just about to say he has.
Yeah, we got put back a bit because of that, and of course we were like, when you're healthy, when you're ready, that's when we start. So there's no rush with the Insidious album in that sense. But it's ready to start recording from scratch in the studio, so we're just waiting to get the call from Russ when he feels he's healthy enough to do that.
Yeah. You also have the pleasure, and obviously in Insidious Disease, of playing with, in my view, like you talk about somebody with hunger and who is still able to, or still operates at a fucking, to me, just incredible level. That's Shane Embury. It's always been the mystery to me of how many bands the guys get to 50 years of age, 55 years of age, and the creativity of what they do just tails off. They're playing to a brand. There's nothing that's necessarily new or innovative or interesting that's coming from them. And Shane, just over the last couple of years, just nothing seems to slow down for him. He'll put out a One Napalm Death album that is magnificent, and then you go, okay, how can they push this any further? The next record, it's like, okay, you've managed to top yourself yet again. And he's got all of his other projects that he does too. So I mean, that must be, I could imagine that being particularly inspiring, even in terms of bringing back just ways of working, or just fire in the belly to DIMMU BORGIR being around somebody like that.
Yeah, of course. It's but that he's a typical artist from my point of view. He's like always searching for something to top himself, and that's he as well doesn't have to do it if he doesn't want to, but he does it because that's his drive. That's it's the hunger, that's the only thing that can seemingly satisfy. So, and we're the same, and to be working with driven people is a real blessing.